A proposed $80 billion for the IRS. That is a 66% budget increase. Democrats claim that will bring in an additional $400 billion. Joining me now to discuss, Russ Vought, president of the Center for Renewing America, former OMB director. Russ, just to be clear what the idea is here by the Democrats, it's not about updating computer systems. It is about sicking IRS agents on everyday Americans, assuming that you're cheating on your taxes, going through your sofa cushions looking for money, if you will.
That's exactly right. This is a design to make sure that most Americans who are filing their taxes every year, doing it to the best of their ability, accurately, are facing audits. And I don't think that's what the American people want any thought of, is that the IRS, and remember, this is the IRS that has been historically, in the last 10 years, weaponized against the American people. And now you're going to give them 60% additional resources to go out and provide additional audits. It's a massive problem waiting to happen.
Russ, exactly. It will be an agency on steroids. One, remember the ProPublica article? Publica. I say Publica because I'm from the South. Put out the detailed report on the tax returns of the wealthiest Americans. How'd they get their hands on that? Or the New York Times getting their hands on Donald Trump's tax returns. And we still do not know why Lois Lerner pleaded the fifth instead of answering questions about the abuse of power at the IRS, targeting conservatives.
Right, and it comes at a time when the entirety of the Biden administration is weaponizing their administrative agencies against the American people. We've talked numerous times about the Department of Justice. We've talked about the IRS. These leaks just don't happen. Your last guest talked about the misuse of the settlement process so that an agency head can just sign on the dotted line and make it so that these individuals at the border can get $400,000, $500,000 in costs. This is a government that is designed to do this on behalf of their interest, and then we're going to see $2 trillion more, $1.75 trillion according to the scorekeepers, but it's really a $4 trillion bill that's going to give them all sorts of new additional spending to expand their woke government.
That's a terrific point. Again, like the child allowance, in the way that they've written this, or they haven't written it, but the way it's laid out, it will only last a year. Well, no one believes that it's only going to last a year. It'll be extended way into the future, and it's going to cost over $1 trillion over a 10-year period. That's just the child allowance. But again, it's the phony accounting and the gimmicks that they use to try and get this through and make the bill look smaller up front, with the $400 billion claim that this investment, please, in the IRS will bring in $400 billion in revenue. The CBO is estimating that it's only going to yield half of that.
No doubt about it. There's gimmicks and smokescreens everywhere in this bill. The biggest one is that they're using permanent tax increases to pay for temporary spending on 1-3-year schedules. This thing is going to balloon to where it started. Senator Manchin is not going to get what he thinks he's getting in a lower bill, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think we still have a shot to be able to take this thing down in the next week or so, in the next 2 weeks.
Wait, so finish that thought. Save America, kill the bill, to quote Larry Kudlow. Do you think that this, because they're stalling, they won't vote because the progressives, the far left, they won't vote on the infrastructure bill, which was passed out of that bipartisan passage out of the Senate. So do you think that this dies? This, I call it the New Century welfare monstrosity.
I think we have a chance. I mean, they have a very hard time passing the details of this package. They basically just sent up another framework and got on a plane to Europe, and we're still digesting all of what is in this thing. But there's amnesty, there's Civilian Climate Corporation. We're going to basically take the same type of people who staff the IRS and audit them and put them in the climate business and make them so that they're going around to people's farms and ranches and start doing audits of their practices. The American people are not going to buy that, and so I think we've got an opportunity to really make the case for the details of this package as we get our minds wrapped around in the next week or 2 weeks or so.
Everyday Americans can look at this. They look around themselves, their families, and they see two things. They see an economy that's slowing, and they see skyrocketing inflation. So the Democrats want regular folks to believe that spending trillions of dollars more and laying on taxes that will slow growth, that's the recipe to solve the problem. In fact, it would make the current problems worse. Today we found out inflation is running at the fastest pace in 30 years. You got to go back to 1991 to find inflation running faster based on the Federal Reserve's preferred measure. So it's just the danger for the Democrats, Russ, is that they always assume everybody's stupid. And they talk to people that way. Regular folks see exactly what's going on. Final word to you.
No, I think you're right. I mean, the American people know it's not Build Back Better. It's Build Back Worse. They're taking all the policies of the 1970s that literally history books had thought they had put the end point on and brought them back. And whether that's inflation, whether that's high tax rates, whether that is beginnings of slow growth. We saw 2% growth out of a pandemic, which it should be much higher. So this is all a perfect storm of economic principles that are coming to fruition. The American people know it's incompetence, and this president just throws it across the transom to Congress and gets on a plane to Europe and expects that it's going to improve the situation. I don't think it will. I hope that they're going to have a hard time getting these votes when it becomes an actual bill on the floor of the House of Representatives.
Russ, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here always. Have a wonderful weekend.